Hi there, today I'm going to be reacting to After Hours by The Weeknd. I'm not going to make this intro very long. I've heard a lot of great things about this album and I'm excited to get into it. As always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, feel free to follow me on social media, and feel free to check out the uncut version of this video, which will be up on Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel. Let's get into it with track number 1, which is Alone Again. Those synths are really pretty. This feels very cinematic. I like how much of an eerie atmosphere this has. It definitely feels like it's leading to something. One thing that I'm trying to keep in mind going into this album is that this is the first album in another trilogy. So this is life, Dawn FM is death, and I'm assuming the next album will be Afterlife or Purgatory or whatever. Yeah, just trying to keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, I really like that as an opener. I feel like it sets the mood really well. I like how it felt really like gentle and dreamy in the beginning, and then it obviously transitions into that like really tense beat. The lyrics are obviously dark. Check my pulse for a second time. I took too much. I don't want to die. I don't know if I can be alone again. So I like how the atmosphere really matches that. Yeah, it felt like a really understated opening for the album until the beat switch happened, and yeah, great song. Loving it so far. All right, let's get into track number 2, which is Too Late.
I let you down, I let you on. I never thought I'd be here without you. Don't let me drown inside your arms. Bad thoughts inside my mind when the darkness comes. It's way too late to save our souls, baby. It's way too late. Baby, on my own. Just wanna believe there's so much more. It's way too late to save our souls, baby. It's way too late. Baby, on my own. Like, I tell myself I should get over you. I said, I know I'd rather be all over you. Get on top of me, I want you. It's way too late to save our souls.
He's so good at making a chorus without fail every time. This instrumental is gorgeous. That synth sounds really cool. Okay, I love that outro. I feel like what I'm about to say is gonna sound like an insult. I promise it's not. This song feels really like distant and standoffish, but in a cool way, like in a purposeful way, which I think is actually what makes that vocal effect work. One thing I notice is that he says it's way too late to save our souls, and then he says it's way too late to save my soul. So it kind of calls back to the lyrics of the first song where he just wants this person with him through this dark time and he just doesn't want to be alone. Yeah, another good song. I didn't love that one as much as the opener. Maybe it'll grow on me, but it is still really good. So on to the next track, which is Hardest to Love. These instrumentals are so pretty. Like, that sounds so good.
You try with me so many times. You're crying out behind the smiles, and I can see right through the light. Yeah, 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 yeah. And what we had is dead inside. And I've been the hardest to love. It's hard to let me go. Yeah, and I can feel it. I don't feel it anymore. The house I bought is not a home. Together we are so alone. Cause I've been the hardest to love. You're trying to let me go.
Yeah, I love that production switch when it goes into the chorus. I feel like it really makes the chorus pop and like distinguish the different parts of the song. The production so far is fan-fucking-tastic. Like, it always is, but on this one especially. I just feel like these instrumentals are so beautiful.
I can't believe you want me after all the heartbreaks, after all I've done. Oh, no, I can't believe you trust me. I've been the hardest to love. You're trying to let me go. Yeah, and I can feel it, I can feel it.
So, obviously a lot of these synths sound very 80s inspired, but I actually feel like the sound of this is a lot more futuristic, for lack of a better way of putting it, than I was expecting. I thought this would just be like straight 80s sound. I feel like this is a combination of everything that Abel does really well. It has that kind of like 80s pop song feel to it, but it also has that really dark ambient sound to it. I feel like he's like taking the two things that he does really well and putting them together, and I'm loving it so far. Like, no criticism so far. The lyrics of this one are obviously quite sad. He feels like he's ruined the relationship and she's about to end it for good. I feel like it was actually quite moving. I feel like if I listened to this while I was upset, I might be going through it right now. Luckily, I'm doing kind of okay today. And yeah, it just feels really sincere, which I appreciate. Let's get into the next track, which is Scared to Live.
When I saw the signs, I should have let you go, but I kept you beside me. I'm the reason you forgot to love. So don't be scared to live again. Be scared to live again. No, don't. They just made you feel lonely. I am not the man I used to be. Did some things I couldn't let you see. Refuse to be the one who takes your heart.
So this is obviously very big dramatic 80s ballad inspired with those Phil Collinsy drums. Not my favorite song, definitely my least favorite so far, but it is still very catchy. Again, he knows how to write a chorus. So I have mixed feelings about this song. I'll start with the positive. I feel like it shows off his vocals really well. I also feel like the lyrics on this one have the same sincerity as Hardest to Love. I feel like him encouraging this girl to move on with her life after him is actually quite touching. Now for the negative, and this is entirely just because of my personal taste. It's not like an actual objective criticism, but I just feel like that one was a little too 80s for me. It stayed a little too true to its inspirations, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a me problem because I don't really love that, you know, stereotypical 80s sound. Hot take alert, I feel like the 80s were the worst decade for music. It's a good song. It's just not built for my personal preferences, which is fine because obviously everything shouldn't be built for my personal preferences. So, good song, just not necessarily for me, if that makes sense. Let's move on to Snowchild.
I used to pray when I was 16. If I didn't make it, then I'd probably make my wrist bleed. Not to mislead, turn my nightmares into big dreams. Whole squad mobbing, even though we only 6 deep. I was singing notes while my niggas play with 6 keys. Walking in the snow before I ever made my wrist freeze. For that money I was feeding. Cali was the mission, but now a nigga leaving. She like my futuristic sounds in the new spaceship. Futuristic sex, give a Philip K dick. She never need a man, she what a man need. So I keep on falling for her daily. Jet so big, got a business and a coach. Always living on the road, rocking Louis Alamo, nigga. And for that money I've been feeling. Cali was the mission, but now a nigga leaving.
Okay, I like how Snowchild could be a reference to Canada, because snow, obviously, but also cocaine. That's fun. That's clever. I see you. I also like how Cali was the mission is a callback to The Morning, which I appreciate because The Morning is one of my favorite songs by The Weeknd.
20 mil mansion, never lived in it. Zero edge pool, never dipped in it. Superstar neighbor in my business. Paparazzi trying to catch me slipping it. No nigga
Okay, so I love how so far this album mixes really retro sounding synths with a really modern electronic production. I think that that's really cool. I think that the lyrics on this one are great. A common theme in his music is him being conflicted about fame, because obviously fame saved him from a really dark situation, but at the same time, you have to sacrifice so much when you become famous. I actually think that famous people talking about being famous is really interesting. I love songs about that. I love books about that. I love movies and documentaries about that. I think just because it's so far removed from my life. I really love this song. It's obviously the least immediately catchy song on this album. It's like the first one so far that doesn't sound like it's ready to be a radio hit, but I actually really appreciate it for that. It kind of feels like it's like a secret message in the album for people who actually take the time to listen to the whole thing and pay attention instead of just hearing the hits on the radio. Yeah, loved the introspection on this one. One of my favorites so far.
Your pillow talk to me about the men who try to get between us. They buy you bags and jewelry, yeah. They think your kindness is so weak. No, you don't give it up so easy, baby. But you just wanted my attention. You just wanted my affection. This place is never what it seems. Take me out of LA. Take me out of LA. This place will be the end of me.
This is definitely a great follow-up to Snowchild. It kind of feels like Snowchild Part 2 at this point. This album flows really well.
Black on black, Venom covered teeth. Keanu Reeves way a nigga speed. Diamond cross hanging off of me. Fighting for my soul, Constantine. Cause I got everything I wanted. Got the money, got the cars, got the ceiling with the stars. Got everything I wanted. But I'd be nothing without you. Give you everything you wanted. Give you power, give you life, give you space so you can shine. Give you this place. Never what it seems. Take me out of LA. Take me out of LA. Out of this place. Be the end of me. Take me out of LA.
This is definitely going somewhere. I know I can trust him with a long song. He always does something with the time.
She pulled up to the studio. Nobody's watching. She closed the door and then she locked it. For me, for me. We had sex in the studio. Nobody walked. Same work done on their face. I don't criticize. She a cold-hearted bitch with no shame, but her throat too far. She got chrome hearts hanging from her neck, and them shits going wild. She's all mine until he calls her line. She pulled up to the studio. Nobody's watching. She closed the door and then she locked it. For me, for me.
I kind of know where this is going because I recognize the next track. I feel like the story of this album is really evolving as it goes on, which I appreciate. It feels like it has like a loose concept. It kind of seems like the celebrity culture of LA is like the villain of this album, if that makes sense. The lyrics on this one are also pretty dark. It seems like he's realizing that LA is a really toxic place and he either needs to get out or LA is going to end him, basically. Like Snowchild, this one is less immediately catchy, which again, I appreciate. I feel like these songs might stick with me for longer. I feel like they'll have a lot of replay value and they're really going to grow on me with time. I love how moody they both feel. Let's move on to Heartless. I feel like this album's about to take a turn.
Never need a bitch, I'm what a bitch needs. Trying to find the one that can fix me. I've been dodging death in the 6-speed. Amphetamine got my stomach feeling sickly. I want it all now. I've been running through the pussy, need a dog pound. 100 models getting faded in a compound. Set up heartless, trying to be a better man, but I'm heartless. Never be a wedding plan, but I'm heartless. No life for life, cause I'm heartless. Said I'm heartless. So much pussy be falling out the pocket. Metro Boomin turn this hoe into a mosh pit. Tesla bill got me flying like a cockpit. Yeah, I gotta watch it. 7 years I've been swimming with the sharks now. Cause I'm heartless.
So I've heard this song many, many times, and I liked it before. I never really loved it, but I feel like it's a lot better in the context of the album. I'm appreciating it a lot more than usual right now. By the way, I have always thought that the bridge on this song was great. It feels like it really like pulls back from his persona and kind of like gives you a rest for a second and then gets right back into it. I love this bridge. Okay, this was definitely perfectly placed in the track list. I feel like the album sequencing so far has been basically flawless. It feels like he kind of hit rock bottom emotionally in the last track, and now he's like, fuck it, I do what I want. It's kind of like when you just become so depressed that you become self-destructive. It's again, it's not like my favorite song or anything. I don't think it's mind-blowing, but it is nice to have more of an upbeat, energetic moment after the past two songs, so I actually really enjoy this one in the context of the album. Let's move on to Faith. Jesus. I'm smiling because I like this song, but Jesus. I'm noticing now that so many of these songs are connected. He mentions the blinding lights, he mentions being alone a lot in these songs. Again, he's like back to his reckless ways on this song. If I OD, I want you to OD right beside me. I want you to follow right behind me. I want you to hold me while I'm smiling, while I'm dying. So fucking dark, but also calls back to the lyrics on Alone Again, where he wants someone with him when he ODs. Jesus, okay. I love this song. I'm losing my religion every day. Time hasn't been kind to me, I pray. When I look inside the mirror and see someone I love. I listen to music in the car a lot. And every time I hear a song with a siren in it, I just think about how I'm probably gonna freak myself out later with it. I ended up in the back of a flash and cross, with the city shining on my face. The lights are blinding in the night. I love how that song progressed. It felt like it really picked up when he said the "if I OD" line, and everything felt really urgent, and then everything kind of just fades into the outro. I really love that song. I feel like it's the perfect transition into Blinding Lights. It seems like he's like in the back of an ambulance, which adds more meaning to Blinding Lights. This is my favorite so far for sure. It feels very cinematic. I feel like if I closed my eyes, I could picture this whole song in my head. Some parts of it felt really catchy, but it also adds a lot to the narrative of the album. So I feel like it's like everything that I could ever want out of a song. It's catchy, lyrics are great, production's great. 10 out of 10 song. Let's move on to Blinding Lights. Never heard this song before. I wonder what this one sounds like.
I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to do too much. Can't see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night.
Is it overplayed? Yes. Do I understand why it's overplayed? Also, yes. It's a great pop song. I feel like I'm not going to have that much to say about this one.
The city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I'm just coming back to let you know. I can never say it on the phone.
It is a really good song.
This time, I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch.
Okay, so like Heartless, I do feel like that works a little better in the context of the album for me now with the ambulance or cop car or whatever at the end of the previous song. I actually want to know how you guys feel about this song because obviously it's his most popular song. I've been in situations before where I've been a really big fan of someone and I find their biggest hit really annoying because it's like they have so much better music, but people only listen to that one song. So I imagine that the fandom is probably kind of tired of this song, but let me know how you feel about it. I'm kind of tired of it at this point, but it is a great song. I get why it's so popular. Let's move on. I don't think I need to spend any longer talking about Blinding Lights. This song does not need my endorsement. Let's move on to In Your Eyes.
I just pretend that I'm in the dark. I don't regret, 'cause my heart can't take a loss. I can tell what you've done, yeah, when I look at you in your eyes. I see there's something burning inside you. Oh, inside you, in your eyes. I know it hurts to smile, but you try to. I always look the other way. I'm blind,
That bass.
eyes. You lie, but I don't let it define you. Oh, define you.
So lyrically, this one reminds me a lot of Hardest to Love, because he has a feeling that she's not happy in this relationship, but she won't admit it. Lyrics are great, chorus is great. I love the way that this one sounds. It's like really bright and fun, but the lyrics are really sad, which again happens a lot in his music.
When it's said, when it's done, yeah, I would never let you know. I'm ashamed of what I've done, yeah. When I look at you in your eyes, I see there's something burning inside.
It's just so groovy. It's just so enjoyable.
Inside you, in your eyes, oh, define you. Eyes, I see there's something burning inside you. Oh, inside you. You always try to hide the pain. You
We love love a sax solo. I'm going to take a hard stance right now and say that more songs should have saxophone solos. I feel like that should happen more often. I feel like the way that this album is laid out is really interesting because the kind of darker, more moody, atmospheric tracks are at the beginning, and then now we're kind of into these really catchy pop songs, whereas I feel like on most albums it would be the opposite. I think that that's a really uncommon way of structuring an album, and I'm really appreciating it, and I feel like it's helping this album flow a lot more quickly for me. Let's move on to Save Your Tears.
Yeah. I saw you dancing in a crowded room. You look so happy when I'm not with you. But then you saw me, caught you by surprise. A single teardrop falling from your eye. I don't know why I run away. Take me back, 'cause I wanna stay. Save your tears for another. Save your tears for another day. Save your tears for another day.
So I'm quite familiar with this song. I remember it really well, but I can already feel this getting stuck in my head again. I feel like this chorus just has such a flawless melody. I really like this one.
Yeah, I broke your heart like someone did to mine. And now you won't love me for a second time. I don't know why I run away. Oh girl, I make you cry when I run away. I don't know. I make you cry when I run away. Save your tears for another day. Tears for another day. Tears for another day.
I feel like that's actually one of my favorites. The sound of it is just really smooth and enjoyable. His vocals sound great. Again, I think the lyrics are great. They're simple, but they're effective. I feel like I could listen to that song when I'm happy because the sound of it is quite happy, but I could also listen to it when I'm sad because of the lyrics. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain why I love that one so much compared to the others, but I just do. Anyways, let's move on to Repeat After Me, Interlude. Jesus, that's a long interlude. I just saw the track length. What the fuck?
You don't love him. You don't love him. You don't love him if you're thinking of me. You don't love him. You're just fucking. You're just fucking. It means nothing to me.
There's something about the way that this repeats that makes it seem like he's like hypnotizing her.
It's been too long. You changed up over time. Why don't even try to hide? It's natural to find someone to treat you right. It ain't right if you fucking matter spine. You don't have to cry, girl, let me wipe your eyes. Don't love you, you're just fucking. You're just fucking, you're thinking of me. You don't love him, you don't love him. You don't love him if you're thinking of me.
It's fine. It's an okay interlude. I don't really have that much to say about it. I want to say that I don't know what its purpose is, but I guess I need to know what it's transitioning into before I can actually say that. So, as for now, undecided. I think it's fine. Let's get into After Hours. I know that this was released as a single, but I don't remember it.
Thought I almost died in my dream again. Fighting for my life, I couldn't breathe again. I'm falling into new. Your body next to me is just a memory. I'm falling too deep. Without you, I sleep. Want you, I can breathe.
Okay.
My darkest hours, girl, I felt so alone inside of this crowded room. Different curves on the floor, distracting my thoughts to you. I turned into the man I used to be, put myself asleep. Oh baby, where are you now when I need you most? I'd give it all just to hold you close.
Okay.
Sorry that I broke your heart. Never coming down.
Fuck. I'm dreading picking favorites from this album. I just realized I'm gonna have to do that. Oh god.
Compensate, 'cause I want you, baby. I'll be living in heaven when I'm inside of you. It was simply a blessing waking up inside you. I'll never let you down again. Oh baby, where are you now when I need
Oh my
you
god.
most? I know it's all my fault. Made you put down your guard. I know I made you fall and said you were wrong for me. And I said, baby, I'll treat you better than I did before. I'll hold you down and I'll let you go. This time I won't break your heart. Your heart, no.
The buildup of that song is so good, and I feel like I'm running out of words. I hate describing something as good. The buildup was perfect. It's a perfect song. I feel like that would have made for a perfect closer, so I'm interested to see where we go from here. Obviously, the lyrics of this song are about him regretting his past mistakes and wishing he could make things up to this girl. So I like how it started off really calm and reflective and vulnerable, and then it just evolved into absolute perfection, and then we got back down to this really intimate, vulnerable place. Perfect song. You guys better give this one the respect it deserves. Sometimes I do these videos and then I find out that my absolute favorite gets like no attention from the fandom, and it makes me really upset. You guys better appreciate this song, okay? I think this is my favorite. All right, final track is Until I Bleed Out.
I can't move. I'm so paralyzed. I'm so paralyzed. I just wanna feel the ground when I'm coming down. It's been way too long, and I don't even wanna get high no more. Just want it out of my life, out of my life, out. I wanna cut you out of my dreams. I wanna cut you out of my dreams.
part of me feels like After Hours would have made for a better closer, and part of me is okay with Until I Bleed Out as a closer. I feel like since After Hours is kind of like the pinnacle of the album to me, it's kind of nice to have a come down after it. Um, that being said, I don't think I would ever return to Until I Bleed Out as a song on its own. I think it's a fine song. I like the lyrics and how they represent how he's like caught up in this cycle of self-destruction, and then you start the album over and the whole thing restarts. I like that about it. Um, yeah, I think it's a fine closer. It's fine. Okay, now I need to pick favorite tracks. Shit. Okay. So favorite tracks are After Hours, Faith, and I want to say either Snowchild or Hardest to Love. I'm going to pick 4 instead of 3. Um yeah. I feel like that's a top tier album in the Weeknd's discography. I think I might do a discography ranking at a later date once I've had more time with it, because I'm not quite sure where this ranks, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I really love this one. Again, I feel like it just combines everything that he does so well. It has the catchier, more upbeat songs, and then it has that really moody atmosphere to it. I feel like he took the best parts of what he does well and combined them, and it just I love that. Again, I think that it's really interesting how this album is structured. It kind of feels like it's really dark and atmospheric, and then it kind of moves into these really catchy pop songs, and it goes back into the darker atmosphere. I think that it's like a real roller coaster of emotions. um yeah, I'm really excited to re-listen to this. I know that I always say that, but for this one especially. And I feel like my favorite tracks are probably going to change quite a bit with time, because I do feel like there's so many great options here. So feel free to subscribe, like, comment again. Feel free to follow me on social media, and this whole album reaction will be up uncut on Patreon. I guess I'll see you guys for the discography ranking whenever I decide to do that. Again, sorry that my uploads have been a little more sporadic lately. Again, I'm moving. Hopefully by April, things will be back to normal for me, which is when I'll be in my new living space. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.